Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Sunday afternoon in Azeroth, and it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Rogue One, may the Force be with you.
Anakin, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, Master.
May the Force be with you.
Yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I grew up watching the old school VHS tapes before the special editions, before Han, or before Greedo shot first and Jabba the Hutt was in Episode 4 and all that nonsense. Yeah, I had those old VHS tapes. So we actually had the original Star Wars on Laserdisc. Yeah, that's how old school I am. Anyway, may the 4th be with you. I love Star Wars. And despite Disney's many attempts to ruin it, it seems like, you can't kill it, no matter how hard you try. So anyway, we do have a great show lined up for you about World of Warcraft. This is not a Star Wars podcast. And yeah, we've got some big talking points to go over, specifically regarding the features coming in patch 11.1.7 and some of the discussions about that coming into the future. So we're going to really hit that hard. There's a lot of different angles that we're going to approach this from the what was announced versus what was teased as coming in the future. And we'll also go over the content that's going to be showing up in patch 11.1.7, the actual game content. So we'll go over all that. There's a little bit of news and then that'll be the show. So, right. I have to say, so I still playing classics, still not playing retail. I did jump onto the PTR for a little bit last week just to try out some of the new 11.1.7 stuff. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But overall, I gotta say, I thought I would be excited to return to The War Within when the new patch came out, but the way that the patch was rolled out and all of the kind of clunkiness surrounding that, it really turned me off to Modern WoW. And I'm hoping that this new patch gets me back into it. I'll show up for Horrific Visions in a couple weeks. But just been playing classics, still on the Anniversary Realms. My hunter is 55. I just started the Onyxia questline. So for the Alliance, that's you got to kill a bunch of dragons, and then you got to fly around back and forth between Lakeshire and Stormwind and whatnot. But it's having a good time. Really, I don't know. I love Vanilla Classic, and you know what? I'm probably going to get bored of it in a couple weeks here, and then ready to move on to something else. I don't know, but for right now, I'm having a good time. I'm really enjoying Classic. I started messing around with my warrior again. It's really tough. Leveling a warrior is hard, especially if you don't have a healer. You're at the mercy of mobs. But what I started doing is, since I have two accounts, I'll play the hunter for a while, and then I'll be in Stormwind on the warrior, and then as soon as he gets the Onyxia buff, I'll switch, and then I'll go over to the warrior, and then now he's super powered. So it seems to work pretty well. But anyway, that's about all I've been up to in game. It's been really busy here. I've got a lot of projects that I'm starting to work on at home, so I've got less time to play than I had wanted to. I've got lawns to mow. I got to put up a fence. That's not going to be fun. My dog found the weak spot in the fence in the backyard, and so he got out. This is a couple months ago, and so now I can't leave him out in the backyard. I've got to stay there and babysit him. So I'm going to build another fence so that the dogs have a restricted area that they can go into, and that way they can just be in and out whenever they want. And then the other fence, the bigger fence, I've got to talk to the neighbor and coordinate that with her. And she's like this grumpy old lady. So I'm kidding, Kathy. You're sweet. No. So I've got to figure that out with the neighbor and get a fence built. So anyway, the point is, I got a lot less time for World of Warcraft, which is unfortunate for me. But I'm still having a good time and playing when I can. So yeah, that's about that. I don't really think there's anything else to talk about. So I had posted a couple months ago about the Joyous Journeys. I think it's Joyous Journeys buff, the one in Cataclysm Classic, coming back. And this was in between Firelands and Dragon Soul, so before the Dragon Soul raid came out. And somebody posted in that thread asking if anyone knew if it was going to come back, I guess, but prior to Miss Pandaria Classic. And I don't know. I'm hoping it does, because honestly, I'd like to level up a couple more characters. So yeah, if we get Joyous Journeys, I'll probably switch my attention to Cataclysm for a week or two, just to get a couple of alts leveled up prior to Miss Pandaria Classic coming out. So yeah, and that's about it. So all right, yeah, like I said, not a whole lot to go over, but definitely, I'm still having fun, still taking it easy in game, enjoying my vacation from the War Within. So all right. I think that's it. So yeah, we'll get into the news, and then we will do our big discussion, which is all about patch 11.1.7, the content and the features, and some discussion about the future of WoW and add-ons and all that stuff. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's get on to the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so let's start off with the May 2025 trading post, which is now live. There's a couple of interesting things that I wanted to point out about this one. So first of all, we have a recolor of Tyven, who's the good boy from Dragonflight, if you recall. It's the meta achievement, and then you get him as a mount from Dragonflight. So it's going to be a recolor of him. There's also the Spring Harvest Hog, which is a mouse-looking mount thing. And there's a pet that Wowhead says it's customizable. I don't know anything about it. I don't really do the pets, but there's a pet on there as well that apparently is customizable. So if you want to check that out, there are some interesting armor transmogs and some weapon transmogs. So you can get there's two ensembles, the attire of the Swift Fox and the attire of the Woodland Raccoon. There's the Frenzied Hat of the Shallows, which is a shark hat that sits on top of your head. There are the Azure and Violet Wrap sets. So these are the skirts that can make you look like a gladiator or like you're wearing a skirt or whatever with the leg wraps. And there are some Drustvar weapons that are available as well, or Drustvar themed weapons. But the really big one to me is these Ninja Turtle transmogs. So there are Ninja Turtle. First of all, you can get the Heroic Half Shell. So you could have a turtle shell on your back. And then you can get Renaissance / Ninja Turtle weapons, is what Wowhead is calling them. It's a one-hand katana, a two-handed katana, a sai, main hand nunchuck, and an offhand nunchuck that you can get from. So if you combine that with we were talking about the wrestler masks from before, yeah, you can have your Ninja Turtle cosplay. So if you're an orc or you can't really be any other race that's green. I guess a goblin. You could be a mini Ninja Turtle, but or you can just be a human or a night elf that decides they want to look like a Ninja Turtle for the day. That's fine too. But yeah, you can get your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle transmog on the trading post in the month of May. So check that out. Another kind of low month, although I did buy all the Ninja Turtle weapons and whatnot. But otherwise, it's not really that much on there for me. So, and that's fine. But yeah, check out the trading post and enjoy. The Mythic Plus changes that were announced last week. So right after we finished recording and uploading and everything last week, Blizzard announced that they were going to be adding the Mythic Plus trinkets to the Dinar vendor for if you have done Mythic Plus 12 and above. So this is the Puzzling Cartel chip that we were talking about last week. There's no Mythic Plus track, or there's no Mythic Plus gear on there. It's only raid items. Well, Blizzard listened and they said, okay, we're going to put the Mythic Plus items on there for 12 plus if you've done the dungeon on 12 plus. So what they say is when the Turbo Boost event goes live on May 13th, it will include some additional opportunities for players who prefer Mythic Plus dungeons. The weekly quest that provides puzzling cartel chips will now offer players a choice between killing 4 raid bosses in Liberation of Undermine or completing 4 Mythic Plus dungeons. Additionally, the vendor will now offer a selection of trinkets from Season 2 dungeons in addition to the previously planned raid items. Purchasing Hero Track dungeon trinkets or Hero Track raid gear will have no requirements other than the currency cost. This means that regardless of how you obtained your puzzling cartel chips, you can exchange them for Hero Track or raid items or Hero Track dungeon trinkets. The Myth Track dungeon trinkets will require both the currency and having beaten the timer in all Season 12 Mythic Plus dungeons at Mythic 12 or higher, having unlocked the Resilient Keystone system. And of course, the Myth Track raid gear will require both the currency and a victory over the items associated boss in Mythic difficulty Liberation of Undermine. Our goal here is to ensure that players who enjoy Mythic Plus dungeons have a way to use this new event to obtain items they may have been chasing for weeks. As always, thank you very much for your feedback. Yeah, this is a really interesting one because we did talk about this last week, how Blizzard has basically told Mythic Plus players, you're not good enough, you don't count, only raid is the top level. This is kind of an olive branch to them. I know some people are happy about this, some people are not. I think it's just an interesting idea that this is how they're going about this. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, first of all, I don't need anything Myth Track. And second of all, I don't do any of this content anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me. If I want a trinket, I'll go do my 4 raid bosses and then buy a Hero Track trinket. Boom, done. I'm good. So for me, this is great. I can now buy, if I want a trinket from a Mythic Plus, the Mythic Plus pool instead, I'll be able to get that. So that's pretty cool. Right. So more to come on that next week when the Season 2 Turbo Boost goes live on May 13th. Okay. Battle for Azeroth Time Walking is coming in patch 11.1.7. We speculated a few months ago when Blizzard was going to add Battle for Azeroth Time Walking and if it was going to come in some different form or if it was going to do we didn't know if they were going to do something special with it or why it was being delayed for so long. It's here now and it's coming in patch 11.1.7. It's going to include Ataldazar, Freehold, King's Rest, Shrine of the Storm, Temple of the Sethralists, and Waycrest Manor. So if you hated any of those dungeons, too bad. So I had hoped that we would get something special for Time Walking going forward, and it wouldn't just be the same thing over and over and over again. But it looks like Blizzard is just going to continue on with Time Walking the way it was. So expect to get Shadowlands Time Walking sometime in midnight, or maybe even sooner. Who knows? But yeah, Battle for Azeroth Time Walking will be here in patch 11.1.7. And we'll talk about patch 11.1.7 in a little bit. So, and then the other part of this, of course, is the Turbulent Timeways is making its return. During this update cycle, we are refreshing Turbulent Timeways with the addition of Battle for Azeroth in the rotation. This event will span 6 weeks, beginning and ending with Battle for Azeroth. So, week 1, Battle for Azeroth. Week 2, Mists of Pandaria. Week 3, Burning Crusade. Week 4, Warlords of Draenor. Week 5, Legion. Week 6, Battle for Azeroth. We will also get a mount like we do with the other Turbulent Timeways events or with the previous ones. This one is the Chrono Corsair, and it looks very similar to Time Captain Hooktail. He was first introduced in the Tazavesh Mega Dungeon, but we fight him in the Harbor of Dornegal. Wow. Borealis. So yeah, I guess that's the mount rewards. You have to do 5 weeks of time walking, and then you will get the Chrono Corsair mount. So there you go. The Turbulent Timeways will make its return in patch 11.1.7, and that'll be fun. It's a good way to gear up your alts. So. Okay, everything coming with Zul'Grub in Phase 4, 20th anniversary. So Zul'Grub launched on Thursday last week. It is now live. I can tell you right now, there are a lot of ZG runs going on the Anniversary Realms. Woo, baby, there are a lot. So the content coming in, or the content that is in now, it's already there. You can get the Zul'Grub raid, and it's on a 3-day lockout. So yeah, Yeah, that's fun. The new world bosses are the 4 green dragons. We have one in Duskwood, Ashenvale, the Hinterlands, and Fairless. So they can rotate between the 4 locations. You can get a different dragon depending on what it is. So if you're lucky, you'll get a good one. If you're unlucky, you'll get Emerus. The tier 0.5 or Dungeon 2 sets are now in the game. So you can do that quest line if you have your Dungeon 1 set, or at least part of it. I think it starts with the bracers, and then it goes on to like belt and gloves and goes from there. It's expensive. Be ready to spend a lot of gold and a lot of time on getting your set. But for most classes, I'd say it's pretty worth it. So it's a pretty good set. It's a good catch-up gear. This is the Blizzard's first real attempt at catch-up gear. So we had the tier 0.5 sets, and then Zilgrub also was kind of catch-up gear. Obviously, they got better at it as they went on in expansions. But so the tier 0.5 sets are now available. The Stranglethorn Vale Fishing Extravaganza is available. So if you've been working on your fishing skill and you want something to do with that, you can now do the Stranglethorn Vale Fishing Extravaganza. So I believe it's every Sunday at noon or something like that. Anyway, whatever. I don't fish. And the last one is the Stirring of the Silithid. So this is in Silithus, fight back the Twilight Hammer, and Silithid and Silithus to earn reputation with the Cenarian Circle. So this is all in preparation for the AQ event, which will be coming in probably a couple months. So there you go. That's what's new in 20th anniversary for the Phase 4. I would expect Phase 5 to be here. I'd say maybe July. Maybe they'll give us 3 months and then we'll get AQ. So we'll see. All right, let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. So I've had a couple of weeks now where I have said, here's the affix for the week, and then I went back later and looked, and it was wrong. So I don't know if somebody else is getting this wrong, and then they're reporting it wrong, and I'm just reading it, or if I'm reporting it wrong, whatever. I don't know. I went to mythicpl.us to find out what the affixes for the week are. They say next week is going to be Pulsar and Fortified. We'll see how it goes. Pulsar orbs spawn around players and orbit them at a fixed distance. Players must soak the orbs, or other players must soak the orbs. That's the +4 affix. And the +7 affix, Fortified, you know it, you love it, you love to see it. Non-bosses have 20% more health and deal 20% more damage. So if those are the affixes, great. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But it's week 10. That I do know, because I keep track of that myself. The bonus event this week is the Delve bonus event. You'll get the Sign of the Explorer buff. Delver's journey progress, companion experience, and undercoins are increased by 25%. You can pick up the quest A Call to Delves for Markivist for Thrune in Dornogal to complete 5 delves in Khazalgar, and you will win a cache of Delver spoils, which will give you a champion delve item. So that's pretty good for if your character is still gearing up, or if you have an alt that you want to get some gear on. That's a pretty good one to do. The PvP brawl for the week is Deepwind Dunk. Can you even dunk? If you want to win this brawl, you're going to need to work on your skills because Dunk Ball has come to Pandaria. You'll race to claim balls from the map's center or northern or southern mines, take them to your enemy's base, then go for a magnificent long-range shot or go all in for the dunk. I've actually never done this one, so I might try and jump in and see what it's all about. When you zone in, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and you will be rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. The Darkmoon Fair is in town. That started this morning. Meet Silas Darkmoon and his troupe, play games that test mind and nerve, and behold the exotic sights from the four corners of Azeroth and beyond. I love the Darkmoon Fair. It's great. Every month I tell you guys to go to the fair, and I will keep telling you because I love it. You can get the XP and reputation buff from riding the merry-go-round or the roller coaster. You can get your knowledge point and skill points for your professions. Definitely do the professions. It's worth it. Especially if you have a crafting profession, it's always nice to get those extra knowledge points, and get a few more points in there. Yeah. And then, just run around, do the quest. You can, I think there's a dirigible that you can get. You can, go check out the heavy metal night, heavy metal concert, or the rock and roll concert. You can fight the heavy metal knight. You can fly through the rings. You can get shot out of the cannon. It's a lot of fun. I love the Darkmoon Fair. And then finally, the Spring Balloon Festival is coming on May 10th through May 12th. The skies are clear. The wind is calm. It is a great day for hot air ballooning. Hop into a hot air balloon, enjoy the scenery, and make some new friends. This is just a fun thing to do. You get no achievement, no points, no loot, no nothing. You just go up into a balloon, and that's it. So if that's something you want to go do, maybe you've got your sweetheart in WoW and you guys want to go do something together, beautiful. I think you need 3 people to launch the balloon, though, so maybe it's a 3-way. You know what? That's all good. Get your buddy, and then, anyway. This is a family show. Knock it off. Right, and that's it. That's what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. We have a lot to get to with the patch 11.1.7, and so, yeah, we're just going to jump straight into that.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
Okay, so let's talk about this patch 11.1.7 PTR that has gone up. The new patch is going to be called Legacy of Arathor. It will contain a couple of interesting new features. We've got the Arathi Highlands campaign, which is going to be a quest series that you're going to go do. It's going to be in the Arathi Highlands, and there's going to be some fighting between the Alliance and Horde. We'll see. I didn't check this out on the PTR. I didn't even see if it was live because, honestly, the storyline stuff, I'd rather check it out when it's live, or in the real game. So, but this is, I guess, they're trying to set up a little bit more of the Arathi storyline and what's going to come in the future. I can't imagine that this is anything related to the ending of the War Within. I think this is more set up for maybe the Last Titan, maybe Midnight, maybe the Last Titan. We'll see. There are some people who are speculating that all of this storyline that Blizzard is putting in right now is preparation for post The Last Titan, in which we will be dealing with the Arathi. I think that's a possibility too. We just don't know. So all we can do is enjoy the content and speculate wildly, which is something I'm really good at. So, all right. Next up is Go Lore Walking with Lore Walker Cho. Players level 10 and above can speak with Lore Walker Cho in either Stormwind or Orgrimmar or Donegal. For a renewed questline experience, you'll step back into some iconic lore moments in Azeroth with both previous quests and a few new ones. Yeah, I'm not sure what the rewards for this are. I do know that it's basically just a way to kind of give us some exposition on some of these characters. They've got Meet the Ethereals, travel to Netherstorm to fight Dimensius, meet up with Ilaria and Locust Walker in Legion, and head into the Shadowlands to meet the Brokers and gain access to Tazavesh. You'll also meet up with Venari, so give us a little chance to catch up with Venari, see how she's doing. Next up is experience Xal'atath's storyline. Learn more about the Blade of the Black Empire in Legion, see how Xal'atath gained her body in battle for Azeroth, and go back in time to the Black Empire to experience Xal'atath's encounter with the Old Gods. And finally, face the past with Arthas. Return to Stratholme for a condensed version of the culling. Feel the stinging cold of betrayal in Wrath of the Lich King, and confront old memories as you step into the role of the Lich King as he faces down the heroes of Azeroth. So that should be kind of interesting. I know that in The Last Titan, we're supposed to be going to Northrend, so I guess this is also set up for that. So, yeah. I think this is a really good way for Blizzard to remind players of the story, because the lore is starting to get a little complicated. It is. And people have a hard time, somebody like me, I'm going to read the lore myself. There might be people who maybe watch some lore videos like Noble, or listen to lore podcasts like Live, Laugh, Lore. These are all really good sources, but not everyone does that. So if you put it in game and you have something that people can go do, then I don't know if there's any rewards for this or anything, or any reason to do it, but it's certainly something that I think people will be able to get that storyline and that backstory. So I think that's really good. It's good for the game, since they're trying to go a more narrative style of expansion, and not just go, hey, here's a story that we slapped together for like Battle for Azeroth or Shadowlands, where you go, this doesn't really make sense. No, they really want to build the story and have it be a rich, lore-focused experience. So, yeah, it should be fun. Okay, next up is Overcharged Delves. Things are about to become even more dangerous in Delves for you and Bran. We're introducing a new Delve-specific affix to 6 Delves to push you to new feats of heroism or to earn more shiny loot. So 6 Delves, Kriegwald's Rest, Skittering Breach, the Spiral Reeve, Nightfall Sanctum, Fungal Folly, and Side Street Sluice are the ones that have been chosen. You'll engage with rare new enemies, more traps, and unlock traits in a new trait tree specific to overcharged delves. Selecting the right traits can turn the tides of traps by making them more beneficial rather than a detriment to your progress. Additional new rewards, Titan Disc Belts. Unlock the Titan Disc Belt at the start of the event and upgrade it through a weekly quest. This is starting to sound like Torghast. New mount, overcharged mech suit. That's pretty cool. New gear and more Delves currency. So hopefully this is a smooth implementation and not like Torghast. I guess by the end of Torghast, it was actually quite enjoyable. I really did enjoy Torghast at the end of Shadowlands, but going through that middle period and having it be something that we were being forced to do for the currency, for the legendaries, did not feel good. So hopefully this is done right. You know, if Blizzard can take the lessons of the past and apply them and just like do a greatest hits of all the things that they've done correctly in all of these previous features and ignore the stuff that they got wrong, yeah, we'll be in good shape. So this will get me to go do some delves. I'll try this. And I think this would be a really good one to encourage people to do delves in groups. I know delves were kind of pitched as, hey, this is the solo player content, which I think is great. But some people struggle with doing delves solo, and they'd rather be able to do them in a group. So if people are being encouraged to do group delves, then yeah, those people will be able to get in and get some content. So I think that's good. I personally like doing delves by myself. I'm a very solo focused player when it comes to stuff like that. But I mean, I don't mind doing it with people. One of the things that I find is when you do a delve by yourself, you do it a certain way. And when you do it with other people, now you both have your certain way of doing delves. So it's kind of a conflict. I find it to be a little bit harder. Well, I just normally pull all these groups. Oh, well, I normally jump down over here. Well, so, and that's okay. I think that's part of World of Warcraft. If we could run dungeons by ourselves, my gosh, there would be so many different routes to take. All right. So that's the content that's coming in patch 11.1.7. So we've got nothing really big, no new content. We're adding some stuff to delves. We've got the lore walking, and we've got the new quest campaign. So not a huge patch as far as content goes, but that's okay. That's not what the .5 and .7 patches are supposed to be about. They're supposed to be about fleshing out the game, putting things in that help players do stuff and encourage them to participate in the content and in the world content. So I'm hoping that this will do that. So all right. The rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. New UI options, combat assistant, and single button assistant. So, all right, before we get too deep into this, if you watched the WoWcast with Ian Hazakostas, first of all, I didn't know that it could be... Like, I used to tease the WoWcast because I was like, well, these developers are so awkward. This time it was the interviewers who are awkward. I'm sorry. Dratnos and Max are great. I think they're both really good content creators. That was a little awkward watching them try to... And Ian was so cool and composed, and he's so professional. And these two guys were obviously out of their depth, but and looked very uncomfortable. But that's okay. They tried really hard. They put forth great effort, and I was really happy with the content that we got from it. I would like to see some more casual focused conversation in these types of interviews, whether it's, you know, even just touching on some solo play or some lower level type of content. Not everything is about Mythic Raid and Mythic Plus 12s and above. That's the type of content that we're getting attention on, which is fine, but I want some attention on some of these other content features that are in the game. So, yeah, this, okay, so first of all, let's just say it outright. A lot of people are upset about these features that are coming into the game. A lot of people are really upset. And not just because, oh my gosh, Blizzard is adding in something that I don't want and they're wasting time, blah, blah, blah. No, this is more of a, Blizzard is going to ruin the game with this. Now, I've seen quite a few different takes on this and from different angles. And I'm going to try and formulate my own here because I only have my perspective, and I can see what other people say and go, yeah, that makes sense. But really, realistically, for me, this is great. This is absolutely fantastic for them to add to the game in its current form. If the game, if you really want to fix this issue, right? If you say, hey, the game is too complicated, new players show up and they go, wow, this is too complicated, I can't figure it out. Building add-ons into the game is not the answer. The answer is to simplify your game. And I think that's what Blizzard is going to try and do. If you remove add-ons, at least combat add-ons, then you allow the developers to reduce the reliance on those add-ons by simplifying the game. The reason that the game has become so complicated is because people have add-ons that tell them exactly what buttons to press. And so Blizzard has combated that, even though they say they don't. They have combated that add-on bloat with making things more complicated. Well, you can't just push. You don't just have a rotation. You have a priority. And you can't just use a spell. You have to use this other spell first before you can use this spell. Otherwise, this spell will be weak. But if you empower it with this spell, and then you do these two spells in combination, then you can do your big cooldown, which will allow you to do this other big spell. It's too complicated. It's way too complicated. World of Warcraft as a game, I should not have to download add-ons to just play. And if you just hit buttons, if you go into a dungeon and you literally just hit buttons, whatever sounds good, your damage will be so low, people will kick you from the group. That's a problem in the game. That's a real problem in World of Warcraft. Nobody should ever feel like they are at risk of being kicked from a group for actively participating in the content. You should be able to spam buttons, I know, but if you're in a dungeon, like a normal dungeon, time walking, something like that, and you're just spamming buttons, you should be fine. You're not going to be the top DPS, but that's okay. You should be able to just exist. If you're doing Mythic Plus, yeah, you need to have your rotation down. You need to have your priorities straight. That's fine. But if you're doing any other content, if you're doing a delve, if you're doing world quests, if you're running around, if you're farming, and you pulled an extra mob and you need to fight them, you should never have to worry about this complicated rotation. Weak auras popping up on your screen, this spell and highlighting this and glowing that and arrow pointing to the other. It's so much unnecessary bloat. And I don't know how we got to this point. I mean, I guess it's because of add-ons, and it's this arms race that we've constantly been hearing about between Blizzard making raid more difficult to combat the weak auras and the bigwigs and deadly boss mods of the world, or making combat more complicated to combat the Hekili, I would say wrong, Hekili and weak auras and those types of add-ons that basically tell you what button to press next. You know, you've got all these content creators who create custom weak auras for each class and each specialization. So you can keep track of all your cooldowns, so you know what spell to push next. All of these things that have made the game easier to play, so Blizzard has to make it harder to play, so it's a challenge. Otherwise, you could basically just have an add-on single button press for you. So what Blizzard decided to do was two things. One, we're getting the combat assistant, which is going to highlight your spells on your toolbar, so it's on your existing toolbar. It'll just highlight spells that you should go next, and it'll do one at a time. So, like on my Demon Hunter, I took him over to the PTR, and it will highlight the correct spells to a point that I should use next. It doesn't do a really good job with cooldowns, and it doesn't do a really good job with some of the hero talent features in the game. But I don't think it should. I don't think that a combat assistant should tell you all the things to do. I think you should be able to decide for yourself when to use cooldowns. If a combat assistant tells you to use a cooldown because it's next, and then the boss does a thing that renders that cooldown worthless, that doesn't feel good. So you as a player need to learn how to hold your cooldown. So you go, all right, I'm going. Oh, the boss is about to do the big stun. Maybe I better not pop my 3-minute cooldown. Maybe I better save it until after the stun's over. Stun's over, pop the cooldown, go ham. You have to learn that. And that's where it comes into play where, yeah, the game is too complicated, but also you need to learn how to play. And so if you said, I just need to know my rotation, that's fine. There you go. Here's your rotation. You're good. And for a new player, just learning their rotation, that gets you in the door, right? And then once you've learned and you're comfortable with the mechanics, you're comfortable with the encounters that you're going to be up against, then you can learn things like cooldown management, when to pop your potions, when to do different things in game that make it so that you can play successfully. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. So yes, having the combat assistant I think is good. Having it will really help for players, especially new players who don't really know their rotation. You know, I go on to Wowhead, Icy Veins, Method, all these different websites. I watch videos on YouTube, all to learn how to do my rotation correctly. That's way too much effort. Outside of the game, I should be able to learn it intuitively by playing the game. And as an example, Havoc Demon Hunter, you cannot. There's nothing intuitive about that. Because if you just hit your buttons, your DPS is going to be terrible. Yeah, every time you I-beam, your DPS will go up, but it's never going to get to the point where you need it to be in competitive games. And that's where I feel like we're running into problems, is that players can't just play and learn how to be competitive. You have to go research outside of the game, and then you can come back and be competitive. I don't know. I think it's a little much. So, yeah, so that's the combat assistant. It'll highlight your spells as you go, and or highlight the next spell you should use, and it works fairly well. I'll give it a 7 out of 11.5. The other feature that they talked about that's coming in patch 11.1.7 is the single button assistant. Now, the single button assistant is a very interesting one, and this is the one that generated a lot of controversy because people were, they're turning WoW into a game for dummies. All you have to do is push one button, lol. No, it doesn't work that way. First of all, it's not very good. It doesn't have all your spells, like I said. So just pushing one button, you'll never get your big cooldowns. You'll never get the spells you need if you just push one button the whole time. I did a comparison. I did my normal rotation. Now, I'm on the PTR, so I don't have weak auras. I don't have any of my stuff set up. So my DPS is going to be a little lower than normal. But on the target dummy, I did about 1.1 million with my rotation. And I haven't played for a few weeks either, so I'm pretty sure it'll be a lot higher than that. But yeah, okay, so my rotation, or my DPS is a little low. But using the single button assistant, so I set it up and I just spammed it. I just hit that button for about 30 seconds. And my DPS was about 750,000. So if you said, hey, I don't understand why your DPS is so low, you're only doing 750k. All right, if you're doing anything harder than, say, like a +2 or 3 mythic, or anything harder than, say, normal raid, I get how that's a problem. But if you're in normal raid and you're trying to learn the mechanics and where to position and how to stand and what to do, and you're spamming your one button so that you can continue to attack while doing these things, and then you learn, hey, here's a good time for cooldowns, so you pop a cooldown, and maybe you hit Metamorphosis at this point because it's a good time to do it, and then you continue on with your single button. That's fine. Yeah, that works. That would still increase you. I would rather take somebody learning mechanics and being really good with the mechanics in a normal raid and doing a little bit less DPS than somebody who does 1.7 million but dies to every mechanic. I mean, we're not talking Mythic Raid, right? Where every damage counts. No, keeping people alive and having everyone have a good time, that's the goal for a normal raid. You know, you complete the raid by keeping everyone alive until the end. That's it. So, yes, the single button assistant seems like it's dumbing down the game. It's not. This is not for you if you play the game in any sort of competitive capacity. Even if you're like, honestly, yeah, if you use this in Mythic Plus in any level, I'd say that's probably an issue. But I would rather you do that and learn. That I've been in Mythic Pluses where you go in there and you're like, how is this guy only doing 320k? What in the hell is going on? I would rather you do the single button assistant then. So yeah, it's going to bridge that gap between players who do the research and know what they're doing and players who just can't figure it out. Maybe they've got accessibility issues. Maybe it's somebody who's unfamiliar with MMO style gameplay. Maybe they're used to playing console games. And so console games are much more simplistic in terms of what you do with them. You have fewer buttons to press. It's more about your button combos than it is about pressing 12 different buttons during the course of a fight. So yeah, I guess I could see there being a case for any person to do this in any sort of content, but as you get higher, you're going to need to increase your damage. And that's just the reality. So, yeah, so that's the single button assistant. And there's a lot more conversation that we're going to have about this in the future going forward. I feel like this is good content. I feel like this is something that Blizzard could, and here's the other thing, and I need to be clear on this. Blizzard have said they are going to iterate on this in the future. So the goal is to make this or improve this during the course of the game. So if you say, hey, I need, this spell isn't working correctly, well, give that feedback to Blizzard. This isn't coming up in the rotation, and it should. Blizzard will look at it and they can go, yeah, we'll add that to the rotation. And that's easy. Adding something to a rotation, it's just a list of spells. They probably designed a software on the back end that's a giant tree that says if this, then that, and it just lists out all your spells. It's not that bad. So all you have to do is put it in the right place. You probably have a little GUI you can just drag and drop, right? No, they probably don't. It's all knowing WoW, it's probably all text based. It's all code. Anyway. No, I mean, if you're going to design something like this, honestly, if I was a developer and I was designing something like this, I would design an interface just for that. And I would say, here's the interface for it, so that, you know, you have a bunch of interns come in and you go, okay, here's the spell rotation, here, put it in, and then you go, here's the feedback. All right, add this, tweak this, modify this. Done. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So if you remember in patch 11.1.5, we got the cooldown manager, and this was what people called it the replacement for weak auras, and we talked about this one previously as well. This is another thing that they're adding this in. They're trying to get us to the point where we are not reliant on these add-ons. Ian said he didn't want somebody to sell I'm going to start playing this game, and then the guildmates say, oh, okay, you need this add-on, this add-on, this add-on, or you're doing it wrong. That should not be the case. Nobody should ever feel like they're doing it wrong because they don't have all the add-ons. So, yeah, that's where that is. He also said that for the single button assistant, they're going to have it be able to detect AoE situations. I don't know exactly how they're going to do that. If it's going to be, well, here's AoE, here's cleave, here's whatever. I'm really not sure how they're planning to do that. I only tried it with the Demon Hunter and I did a Guardian Druid. Guardian Druid actually was pretty good. Demon Hunter one was terrible. That needs a lot of work still. But that was a couple days ago, so I don't know. Maybe it's better now. But yeah, I mean, this on the PTR for a reason. So I will go through it again. I'll get all of the, write down all my feedback, submit it to Blizzard, and then I'll feel good about what I've done. I'm a good citizen of Azeroth. So anyway, yeah, the cooldown manager is the replacement for weak auras, and I think that one's a they said they want to continue to iterate on that as well, and they want to be able to add features and modify and change it and make it customizable, make it so that it works for players in a way similar to weak auras without having the complexity of a weak auras. I think that's great. I think all of these ideas are good, but they still are avoiding the main issue, which is add-ons are not the problem. The problem is that the game is too complex. So if this is a goal, or if this is a thing that they're doing with the goal of reducing complexity in the game, I'm fine with that. If this is this thing that they're doing that it's like, oh, well, we're trying to replace add-ons. No, don't do that. Don't just try to replace add-ons. Make the game simpler. All right, so the other part of this is they were trying to get rid of things like deadly boss mods, details, different add-ons that are kind of ubiquitous at this point. Everybody has some sort of boss modification or a boss add-on that keeps track of boss abilities. You don't really need them unless you're doing high-end content. And if you're doing high-end content, most of the time they're not using those anyway in like a Mythic raid because they're using weak auras. And they have developers who are building custom weak auras for those fights. So Blizzard can make things in the game so that you know what's coming. This is how we did it back in vanilla. The boss would say something and you would know, oh, okay, he's about to do this thing, and you get ready for it. The mechanics were much simpler back in vanilla because there was nothing, we had to pay attention to the fight in order to know what to do. We go back and we do them now, we're like, lol, these are so easy. Yeah, they're easy because you have all these add-ons to help you. We didn't have any of that stuff back then. We literally had a guy in our guild. This is the first raiding guild that I was in, Global Army Alliance. And they had a stopwatch. So when the boss would say something, the guy would hit the stopwatch and he'd say, okay, 10 seconds until this is going to happen. That's how we had it. So yeah, is there a need for add-ons? No, I don't think there's a need for add-ons. I think that we need add-ons today because the game is designed around having add-ons. Blizzard says, oh no, that's not the case. It's absolutely the case. They don't want to admit it because it makes it sound like they're the ones that are creating this complexity. And I don't know how, I don't think it's a blame game. I think it's just, that's how things go. You slowly start to escalate. We need to de-escalate this quickly because WoW is becoming unplayable by new players, which means that you're just going to start eating your own content alive, or your own player base alive. As people burn out in retail, they're going to go play Classic, or they're going to stop playing altogether. So I think it's important that Blizzard keep track of this and pay attention to what's going on in game and what these guilds are doing. And so I think it's good that they're doing this. I think that the intention here is really good. I do worry about the next few raid tiers with this mindset going. It's going to get bumpy. Blizzard is going to start blocking functionality from add-ons, and as they do, if the replacements that they have given us aren't good enough, then we're going to have a hard time. If they can reduce the complexity, it doesn't have to go back to vanilla style raiding. Okay, I'm not advocating for Molten Core in 2026. What I'm saying is, if you can make it a little bit easier, something that maybe the boss broadcasts a move, and so you know, oh, when the boss does this giant fireball thing, I need to move out of the way. I need to run out of the room. I need to whatever. They've already got the little swirlies that they put on the ground. And one of the reasons why they say they use the little swirlies is because it's something that you can't use deadly boss mods to counter that type of thing. So the swirlies are a really good mechanic that Blizzard can use. That's why there's so many of them. So if you don't like all the swirlies, then what we need is for Blizzard to not feel like they can't put mechanics in the game because deadly boss mods or weak auras or bigwigs will counter it too easily. So if we can get to the point where these add-ons no longer work, and then Blizzard can kind of reduce the complexity of these encounters, I feel like the game will be a lot more fun. Yeah, still give us a Blizzard built deadly boss mods in game. That's fine. Go ahead and do that, because I think a lot of people will need that. And it helps with raid leaders too. They can keep track of the timers and go, okay, this is coming up, get ready. But there's a reason why the deadly boss mods timer, there's like 20 spells going that are timing that you got to keep track of. Why? Why is it so complicated? I mean, I know why. I just said why. It's just frustrating. So I think if we can get to a point where this is no longer the case and we can pull back on this complexity, pull back on the character of the combat mechanics, and make the game fun. Just focus on making it fun, making encounters interesting and fun. Focus on making playing and pushing your buttons fun. They've talked a lot about pushing a button should be fun. You should feel good about pushing your big cooldown, not I'm going to just build it into my rotation because I just need it to happen all the time because that's how fast combat is. That's not fun. If I have a big cooldown, I want to push it and be like, yeah, that feels good. I feel really cool now for 20 seconds. I'm doing all this damage. And then it cooldown goes, right? You're like, okay, let me kind of catch my breath, go back, check my positioning, right? That's how it should be. That's how the game should be. It should be fun to do the things in game. It should never feel like a chore. It should never feel like a job. Yes, this is a RPG. And yeah, there are going to be some job type components to an RPG. Farming, grinding mobs, different things like that. Yeah, okay, there's always going to be that sort of thing. Grinding reputation. Okay, but when you're in combat, when your character is fighting, that should not be the boring time. Ever. That should never be the boring time. That should be the most exciting time that you have in WoW. I'm fighting a giant fucking dragon and it's breathing fire, and I understand how to fight it. I can strategize this fight because the fight is simple enough that I can figure it out. Not, I've got boss mods telling me 30 different things at once, bing bonging in my ears, telling me move here, stand, move out of fire, move into circle, move out of circle, collapse, expand, run out, stay out of lines. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. So, this really makes me question the future of add-ons in World of Warcraft, because a lot of add-ons are things that help us as players pay attention to the complexity of the game. I like the idea of add-ons that do quality of life things. Leatrix is a really good one. When you go to a vendor that can repair your gear, you have an option to make it auto repair. Blizzard has put this into the game now, but this is a type of thing that you can go in and build with an add-on. I don't mind those types of add-ons. I think they're great. In Classic, there's a option that you can check that'll show you how long it is to fly from wherever to wherever, and then when you get on the bird, it'll actually show you your flight time. So you can look at it and go, oh, I've got enough time to go get a drink, right? Those add-ons are good. A bag add-on, something that you want your bags to be sorted a certain way or organized a certain way, that's fine. Go for it. You want to be able to automatically send mail to your alt? Go for it. Just open the mailbox, click the button, and it automatically puts the mail to your alt, and then you click send. You don't have to think about it. You just done. Those add-ons are good. I like that type of add-on, because then Blizzard doesn't have to get into this nitty-gritty of how to build this functionality that players may or may not want. Let add-on developers do that, and then Blizzard can focus on the other aspects of making this game. But the combat and encounter add-ons, I feel, have started to ruin the game. They've become so complicated and honestly big. They're large add-ons. Every time there's a new patch, we have to fix all of our add-ons. Some of these add-on developers are doing this for free and they don't update them right away. I know that Details notoriously does not update right away, and I hate it. It's frustrating. So yeah, get rid of it. Put a damage meter in the game. Now, obviously, we're going to need some checks and balances so that we know that this Blizzard damage meter is true. Because sometimes Details do things that I don't trust. And so I'm not saying that Blizzard is going to do things that I don't trust. I'm just worried that they're going to do things that I don't trust with a damage meter. And I'm not super big on, I've got to be number one on the damage meter. But I do like to look at it and think, see, here's how I'm doing in this fight. Cool. I'm glad to know how I'm doing in this fight. Versus, I have no idea. I'm just pushing buttons. You could be number one. You could be number 5. If you're below the healer, maybe you need to use your single button assistant. Just saying. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of what's coming in patch 11.1.7. I could go on and on about add-ons for hours, because honestly, I feel really strongly that Blizzard has allowed too many add-ons by basically just opening up WoW and saying, okay, you can put in whatever add-ons you want. I feel like it's too many. There are add-ons that you look at it and you're like, who would want this? Why would anyone do this? But you can do it. I also think that Blizzard needs to stop worrying about what these race to world first guilds are doing and what these plus 12 mythic plusers are doing. They all hate themselves anyway, right? They're doing this content that's really hard, and they're putting so much effort into it. Let them do that. That's fine. Let them do it. I don't need to stress about what's going on with that level of play. Focus on the bulk of the gameplay, which is the people who are playing the game day in and day out. They're doing some low-level keystones, 10 and below. People who are doing normal or heroic raid. People who are doing delves. This is the bulk of your player base. If you're trying to figure out your end game, what are most players doing? That's it. They're doing delves through 8. They're doing Mythic Plus probably through 2 through 9 or 10. 10 is a little tough, but a lot of people are doing them. I'd say 10 is the max. Once you go beyond 10, you're no longer a casual. You are now a tryhard. It's just the way I feel. I'm sure other people have different opinions on that, and that's fine. I just feel like once you get above level 10, once you go above heroic raid, and then once you go above a tier 8 delve, I mean, I guess a tier 11 delve is not that hard if you're a tank. But yeah, that's where I really wish Blizzard would spend the bulk of their focus, their attention. And maybe they do. And we just see all this stuff from content creators who are trying to sound like they're so cool at the game that they're doing all this high-end content. That's great if you are. You know, Dratnos is running Mythic Raid on all these characters. That's great. That's not me, and I have a hard time relating to that type of person. I might see that and go, that would be really cool to be able to do that, but I'm never going to, and I know I'm never going to. So I don't worry about that sort of thing. I worry about the type of game that I would want to play. And maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe I think I'm in the majority and I'm not. Maybe I'm in the minority and most people are doing plus 12s and Mythic Raid. I don't know. So there we go. One other thing that I wanted to mention, and Wowhead actually pointed this out, and I thought this was really interesting. So on the PTR, the dates for the Turbulent Timeways, which is coming on June 17th. So the Turbulent Timeways, which, like I said before, will include the Battle for Azeroth, is going to start on June 17th, at least on the PTR. So June 17th is 8 weeks after the launch of patch 11.1.5, which was April 22nd. If that's the case, we can expect for this to run or to start at the beginning of patch 11.1.7. So June 17th, it's supposed to run through August 5th. August 5th is the last week, or after August 5th, we would get the patch 11.2. So basically what they're saying is, it looks like we're going to go June 17th, launch of patch 11.1.7, August 5th, patch 11.2, and then August 12th, the War Within Season 3. That's the speculation right now. I don't know if that's going to happen. It might get pushed out a little bit. These are all dates that are on the calendar and the PTR right now. So does that mean that we're going to get this for sure? No, of course not. It'll all change at any moment, but I think this is probably their goal. Their goal is to release on June 17th, and there you go. This also means that we will likely not get the Mists of Pandaria pre-patch that same week, which is what I had speculated last week. So probably Mists of Pandaria pre-patch will be the week after. So June 17th, so it's going to be June 24th. We will get Mists of Pandaria pre-patch. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how long we're going to take on the beta. Looks like Blizzard is taking the beta for Mists of Pandaria Classic really slow. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes and where things end up. But yeah, so it's just something I wanted to point out. Blizzard is, or Wowhead is speculating on all of this. And they put in big red, note, this is all PTR information and subject to change. Of course it is. And you have to cover your bases there. But yeah. That would be really cool. August 5th for patch 11.2. I honestly, wherever we end up going, it'll be better than Undermine, because I like Undermine. I really like the aesthetic of it, but I just don't want to do the quests there. Maybe it's just the way they design the quests. I don't like the having to do the chores. I don't like driving. I don't like the drive system. Honestly, it's not as fun as I thought it was going to be. I was like on the PTR, I was like, this is so cool. I'm going to love this. I don't love it. I don't love it at all. So, okay. So there you go. That's what's coming in patch 11.1.7. Like I said, there is so much more conversation that we're going to have about add-ons in the coming weeks as we lead into patch 11.1.7, and Blizzard gives us more information about this and they iterate on some of these changes a little bit more. We're going to be talking about this a lot. I'd love to expand this conversation and, get some other people's opinions and talk about it. So look for a add-on conversation sometime in the near future. So yeah, I think that's going to wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to get on this microphone and speak to you. So thank you again, as always. It truly makes me happy to know that people are enjoying the show. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach me on Twitter or Blue Sky. I am at Denethar on both of those platforms. If you want to check out our Discord server or our Patreon, you can get all of our links on our website. It's AzerothUnitedPod.com. Right now it's just redirecting to our link tree, but yeah, it has all the links on there, so you can get it. And we'll have a website up in the next probably the next couple months or so. I'll get like a Squarespace or something. Yeah, so join the Discord server. We do have some conversations going on there. It's kind of quiet right now. Things have kind of settled down. I think people are just kind of chilling, but as things ramp up for patch 11.1.7, no doubt things will kind of kick off there as well. You can also check out our Patreon. It is patreon.com/AzerothUnited. We have a couple different Patreon tiers that you can choose from, including a free tier if you want to just join. And at this point, I'd like to thank our friend of the show patrons. That's our top tier patron. That is Judge Omni, Stug Life, Thelial, and Greybeard. Thank you all so much. You definitely help make Azeroth United possible. I really do appreciate it. It means so much to me. So thank you very much, all of you. You definitely are friends of the show. Yeah, and like I said, I think that's it for everything. I have all of these ideas for the show, and then my week gets away from me, and I get to the end of the week, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to do the show. I'm got busy. I'm doing stuff. I'm out going outside, touching grass. So I'm going to start. I hate to do this, but I'm going to start doing the show in chunks. So if I get an idea about something, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to record a segment, and then I'll put it aside. And then when it's time to actually do the show, I'll record the intro, I'll record the news, and then I'll just attach the segments as they need to. So that's not how I want to do the show. I've always really preferred to do kind of a live show idea, because I had this fantasy that I was going to be streaming the show on Twitch. I'm not going to stream the show on Twitch, at least not anytime soon. So for now, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to start breaking up the show into segments. So if you're watching it on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see the video. You'll probably start to notice that, hey, he looks a little different in that clip. It's because I'm doing it in segments. So yeah, and then that's okay. That's just how it's going to be. So all right. Yeah, I think that's it. So anyway, thank you again so much for listening. Remember to be good to each other out there. That's a real person on the other side of that keyboard, and maybe they like combat add-ons and you don't, and you're frustrated because they have to update their add-ons before they can do anything, and that's okay. You can just be nice and smile and just be good to each other out there. It's a rough world that we live in, so we can at least be nice when we're in Azeroth. All right, take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.